All right, guys. Hey, so it's mid early afternoon, October 30th, here on Monday. A few things to look at here, maybe something we can learn taking a look at Bitcoin Cash. Now, we haven't looked at Bitcoin Cash for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks now, and we're starting to get some movement here, and there are, I think, maybe a few things we can look at that create some opportunity. Now, you can look today. Well, of course, I've got this listed on trading volume. We've got Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash are 1, 2, and then no surprise, when we look at trading volume relative to Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash is the top trading coin for the day. So let's go look at it both against the dollar and Bitcoin. Here I have it. This is the 4 hour on Kraken. Just it happens to be where I'm trading it. So when you first look at this, a lot of volatility, and then of course we've been in this long downtrend, and so here we're starting to get some movement to potentially imply that we're starting now some new impulsive structure. Well, so the first thing you have to do that I would encourage you always do is look back at where we've come and get a sense of is there anything you can learn from that with regards to how technically it's trading. So just pulling up the first significant swing high to low on the retracement. We go to 50 to the tick. Now we're to and through the negative 23 for the algo target, so those profits have been taken. And now, are we going to drift down to the negative 618, or are we starting something new? Well, of course, just to be thorough, we'd want to pull from this high to this. Well, I guess we'd pull all the way to this low. And we're running into that resistance on the way back up. So we've hit the 50 and had a little pullback there. So we want to recognize that this is not an insignificant zone, this prior high, because we're sitting right at the 50. Now, additionally, again, in just being thorough and getting a sense of how technical it's been, that's a good place to start with just your basic fib retracements. But I'd also look at the alts to see if that tells me anything. There's my 100% from this. If this were some sort of a B, and then we're coming down here, so we're getting a baseline here. So just off of that alt at the 100%, you can see forming a triangle. Then if we do it again, and I pull from this swing low here, now we get a nice hard base. So the point of doing that is we can look at this level and say, is this technical? Are these good pivots with which we can work? And again, just keeping it relatively simple with some basic fib pulls, then adding the trend line here, we get this nice descending triangle with solid technical support down here, and we've had our break. Now, if that's a good break and we're not just going to continue this process of retrace and then go down to target and retrace to go down to target, we can certainly analyze here on the assumption that we've got a good level to work from. So let me take this down to a smaller time frame. Let's go to the hourly and blow it up so we can get a handle on it. Now, this is a little tricky here because this is just such ugly structure. We know this down here is that level of support that we looked at, but it becomes, is this a one wave that we come back down? It's just, I don't like it enough to really try and put a count on that. It's just too ugly. So I'm going to work from this swing low because this is the last low down in this zone where we start to move higher. So I'm just going to pull from that, and we maybe this is a 1, 2. I don't like it enough. So what I'm going to try and do is just work off of the major pivots, and then I might refine based on what the market offers. So if I just go, again, keeping it very simple, just pulling from my low here to my high that I know was significant. Now we looked at this as the 50% on the way back, and we even got a little bit to and through. So working from that swing low, well, we've come down, we went a little shy of the 50. So potentially you've got some algos in, but if we open this up now and start to look at it, well, what can we learn from it? So, just on the straight algo pull, well, here's your target up here. Here's your negative 23.6 up at 569. So that could be what's happening. Now here's where again you can be more precise about what you're seeing and then apply a rule set beyond just trading the 50 stop under the 6.5, we can look at this and say, well, does that look like we're impulsive, and what kind of correction is underway? Well, we can look at that, and as to what, where we get a count on this. At this point, I don't know that that really matters. We've got a hard low here and a good high, and now we're in clearly some sort of a correction. So we can look at this and say, well, some sort of a ABC is in. So we get, we get our little A, our B, and we get our C. So that's, it's not that it doesn't work, but if we're gonna look at that there for our B wave, here's the 618, here's the 100 down here. So I want to mark this because that's more typically, that's the kind of confluence zone that we would look for. I've got my Vegas wave, I've got my 100% alternate price projection, and then I've got my 61865 right here. But you look at that and you say, well, certainly that could be that could be completed if this were some sort of a 1-2. It's shallow, but you've got that three-wave subdivision. But here, if that's the case, then we're looking for impulsive movement. We would want to see this going 1, 2, 3, 4, but we've already overlapped. If that were the one, we've already overlapped. So you have to look at that and say, well, given the length of time here and the range of price from that low to that high, it wouldn't surprise me that we're a little bit more complex in our correction and we give it a little more time. So we have to allow for the possibility that on a higher degree, we're putting an A wave down here. Here's the B, then here would be the C. Now let me put that in a different color just to make the point, and I'll take it up a degree so you understand what I'm trying to say. So possibility that all we've done is just put in our ABC, because this now, again, if I open it up even further, looks more like we've just done an ABC here. So that would give us this potentially A, B, C. Again, I go back to a different color. And you see what I'm, I guess I'd have to be a different degree here. Sorry. I wish TradingView would let you change that ahead of time. So let's go down to a smaller time or smaller degree. So that seems like that's a reasonable roadmap. I would be more comfortable buying it down here than I would trying to chase this as potentially a 1, 2, 3, 4 of a diagonal. Now that it may rip from here. I'm not saying it couldn't or that it wouldn't or that you couldn't make money buying it there. I'm saying with this methodology, I'd be looking more for, even if you put a channel on it, working from the highs, because that would give you something along those lines. So, I like it better down here. I'm a big believer in not forcing a trade. There's so much to trade in crypto that you can be really selective about where you're allocating resources from your account. Why take an iffy, like a maybe? I want to see something that I know has high probability. And right now, that looks much more to me like we've got one more move down. So, one to watch. But I'd be alarming here at the 50 if we're going to come back. If you don't have an eye on this all day, I'd be alarming that, looking for this. Now, here's my ABC here of this one, right? Remember we went A, B, C. I'd want to look at the larger scale. Now it's hypothetical here because we don't know that B is solid yet. But we've got this as well, and if I wiggle it here, see that? And so we get sort of an expansion here. So that would be the 100% of that one. Here's the 618. So potentially you could make the case that you've got the 618 and the 50 to be revisited right here, and you'd be at the center line of the channel. That's possible. But my preferred entry would be down here. I'd want to pay attention to what I see here. If we look at the oscillators, not a lot of help other than this has been our impulsive move, and now we're just correcting that. So I'd love to see if we're going to come down to this zone, likely the RSI is going to get pushed down into that lower region, and we might have better timing for an entry with more fuel for this to move higher. So one to watch, this would be the sweet spot down here I guess you could really pull it down a little bit and say 618 to 65 with the 100% of the larger ABC, giving you some nice entry there. And again, that's not the first entry is not the one to load up on. The first entry is you're just taking a bite at it there with a relatively tight stop. If you get the push that you're looking for, again, hypothetical, if we get the push and we break the channel, then the place to add is on the first retracement back down. First retracement, so we come down here. Now you add there on the 50, assuming that you've got a break now, we're going to start to go up. If this is our 1, we complete the 2, then we're getting the 1, 2 of the 3. So then you're in the 3 of 3. That's the one you're looking for, and that's where you can add. Now you're adding with a little bit of profit. This stop goes to break even. Then you have a modest amount of risk, and if it starts to go, you've got a little more capital allocated to that trade, and then you start playing for the third wave, and it gives you more opportunities. If we start to go here, then you've got opportunities within the third, or you wait for the fourth to come back down. That's your next opportunity to add. Now you've got substantial profit. You can lock in profit here. Now you can add again. So when it's following the roadmap like that and you've laid it out and it starts to follow it, that's where you can really take advantage of that. That is your advantage in using this methodology, and that's where you can start to allocate more aggressively the portions of your account to that trade that's following that roadmap. So right now, in between, but definitely one to be watching. There's a lot of interest in it, and it looks like there may be good technical trading as well. All right, guys, I'll wrap it there. One to keep an eye on.